So, Breakneck got reintroduced this season alongside Onslaught. Onslaught is on almost every auto rifle and LMG this season, with the exception being Avalanche. So before we get into talking about Breakneck, what does Onslaught do, and how good is it considering that was its main selling point when it originally was in the game? Onslaught is a stacking perk that gives you reload speed and an increased fire rate after a kill. This starts at 15 reload and 16% increased fire rates, and caps off at 35 reload and 37% increased fire rates. This buff will last about 4 seconds and refresh on kills, stacking up to 3 times. This mostly causes its usefulness to be dependent on the fire rate of the weapons. On Lethal Abundance, the Iron Banner auto, I wouldn't really bother with it over Hatchling, but on Breakneck it's still really good. This is due to Lethal Abundance being a 360 and therefore not really getting anywhere near as much of a benefit off of the percentage-based fire rate increase. Rossarago, however, benefits heavily from the fire rate increase, as if you can keep the buff up, it'll mow for any ads you point it at in anything Legend and under, as it caps out about 900 RPM like the old auto rifles from D1, which on top of the auto rifle buff this season and it being void allows you to use volatile rounds with it, makes it probably the best primary currently to use Onslaught on. It also has repulsor brace, subsistence and reload rounds on it, which will assist the weapon of using Onslaught, and it's so good I would honestly say it's one of the best primaries in the game for at least low to mid game content. And it's a watch drop, so literally anyone can get the thing. However, even on Legend it starts to struggle when fighting against enemies with arc or solar shields, as you'll hopefully see in the background gameplay, as it just can't move through them quick enough. There's also the new strand machine gun, Marcato 45, which also has Onslaught, and that basically just turns it into the old 21% delirium when fully stacked, and you can run threat detector, demo, slice or attrition orbs on it. So in PvE I would say it's a very good perk that's worth using on anything other than 360 auto rifles. So what about PvP? Well, that's where the problems begin. It's currently, honestly, kind of useless. If you were in the know prior to this season when Breakneck was teased in a tweet, there was a bit of a worry towards how potent it would be as people went back to the original version of Breakneck. That was primarily due to that version of Breakneck having Rampage, which was the reason it was so broken, as the damage buff on top of the RPM buff would make it into a mid-range laser. So long as you kept up the kills, would obliterate anything in sight, similar to how Rossarago performs in PvE. None of the auto rifles, thankfully, have damage buffs to go alongside Onslaught. However, this kind of causes them to be pretty underwhelming until you get at least 2 stacks of Onslaught, where the TTK difference becomes significant enough to actually make the perk worth using. Using Lethal Abundance, again as the first example, Onslaught is basically useless as it's a long-range auto rifle and you simply cannot get the kills fast enough or easily enough to get really any stacks on the perk without people being literally lined up right next to each other. The few times you can, it's helpful, sure, but every other time you'd be better off just using a Bloodbrock with Kill Clip in the same slot. And the same story goes for Breakneck and Breakneck Werewolf. Onslaught does a bit more on Breakneck, however you will still need 2 kills before it makes any noticeable difference. Breakneck on its own though is good enough to not need it most of the time. Breakneck has some of the best perks in the game, heating up, on-call, Eye of the Storm, Under Pressure, Keep Away, and Dynamic Sway. And on-call can get nearly max stability and max range without giving up really anything when on-call isn't up. It also has Run and Gun, which will give you a sprint speed boost when you get multi-kills with it, which will be even more helpful for getting more Onslaught stacks. Its only problem is that it will get out TTK'd or out peaked by a decent chunk of the meta until you manage to get 2 stacks of Onslaught. Which, with the short duration of Onslaught and the need to get 2 kills again, really just doesn't make it worth using, unless you have something like a Radiant build to support until you get the 2 stacks up, as I keep saying. You would be better off using something like Breakneck Werewolf or Target Spy with Kill Clip. There's also Positive Outlook, but that's in the energy slot, and I would argue those are significantly better myself. I decided to make sure I was right and then went into Iron Banner, put on Werewolf, and joined partway into a Vostok match against Pure Chill, did pretty well against him, and won the game and got top of the leaderboard with 26 kills and a 2.36 KDA. So I think that proves it to myself at least. you still want to use Breakneck, I'd probably just put Adagio on it, as that actually kind of works as kill clip, but I have no real way to test that as I haven't went and got an Adagio roll myself. So to summarise, Onslaught is still good in PvE, and I'd probably use it on any water rifle or LMG that has it, at least to try it. And in PvP, I would look out for any guns that can get a damage perk plus Onslaught. Until then, just use other perks until that combination actually exists, probably when the final shape raid releases. So yeah, next video Belisarius. If you want to see that, like, sub, comment, and adios.